This episode was recorded on February 22nd. Welcome to the Polytopian Interviewer, where I interview people on their experiences and views on the Polytopia Discord community. I have Ickykarma with me today. How are you?
I am well.
First question. You first joined the Polytopia Discord on August 2nd, 2019. Do you remember what it was like back then?
Vaguely. I remember my experiences more than I remember what the community was like back then. When I joined, there was no draft. You're on the main server, and then somehow you get invited into this, prestigious competitive scene, and you can start getting bombarded by people talking to you. Unwise was the one that sticks out, but I also had a player from Plague who had reached out to me as well, and it was kind of surreal. But I feel like everyone has that experience when they bubble out into the competitive scene of, man, these people, they're really good. They gave you such good advice. That was my initial scene. It was very helpful. People helping and having fun.
So were the Jets the first team you went on?
I think I was given the option just to pick, and I chose the Crop Dusters. First team I was on, and then quickly, for some reason, Prophet, who was the team leader of the Cosmonauts, because you said first team, I guess you're leading towards how are you on a second team? He expressed some interest in me, and he and Unwise set up some sort of loaner deal. My first team was Crop Dusters, and pretty quickly after, my second team was playing on the Cosmonauts.
Mm-hmm. And then you ended up staying.
Yeah. I was given the choice, basically. I played on both teams, and at the end, both sides, being Jets and Cosmonauts, were like, we should just let him pick where he wants to end up. And I ended up actually initially saying I would stay on the Jets. But then in telling the people that had joined the Crop Dusters, since I had been there and was part of recruiting, and I don't know, I just felt a connection to not only them, but just the momentum that we had created, and went back on picking the Jets one random night. I had a couple of drinks and just kind of pulled the trigger, total unwise, and that was that. Here I am on the Vikings, not the Cosmonauts.
And you're also the head team leader.
Yeah, that's a story.
Do you want to talk about how you became the team leader?
Probably easier than talking about how I became co-leader, because I don't really even remember. A lot of it was a pretty quick series of events. COVID had hit in March, I guess, in the
Mm-hmm.
United States in 2020. That's right about the time that I was starting to take on some administrative duties off of Prophet's plate, and he had basically made me co-leader. And there were a couple random moments in there where, Prophet would just say, do this, do that. And it was a good working relationship. I felt he was the strategy, the brains behind it for a lot of things. And eventually he realized, I guess I had a desire for the diplomacy side, if you will. And after being in leaders talk for a while, I had gotten used to it. And he, I think, had grown tired of it. He made a couple enemies there, just in his style of communication. It wasn't always diplomatic. It was very in your face. He did a lot of good things, I think. He could have gone about his communicative approach more diplomatically. One day he was like, I'm done. I'm going to quit leaders chat. Who wants to take it? And he had pinged myself and Joe Young, I think, actually at the time. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I didn't wait probably 30 seconds before I was like, hell yeah, I'll do that. And then a week later, I was team leader. That was it.
Was Juyang also a co-leader at that time?
It was weird. Back then, it wasn't set structure. Like, it was a lot of everybody just kind of being a co-leader. And he in himself is hands down twice the skill that I could ever be. Everyone has a bucket that they fill up, and that's the that they do that week. His department is and was strategy. I don't remember exactly if that was a title back then, if I had that title, if he had that title, but he deserved it.
Before Moonrise, what made you sure that Nelik wouldn't do a hard reset of the ELO?
Conversations that he'd had and things he had said, it wasn't like I was 100% sure or informed that that would be the case, but doing a hard reset of the ELO, I felt just didn't make sense. I mean, the game changed, but in a way, I don't think it should have been such a abrupt switch that was flipped. Over time, the ELO would kind of reflect the change in the game. I don't remember all the discussions that happened, but I guess ultimately, and I think the good compromise was we'll keep the old ELO, which was all I kind of was thinking. We should keep that around because people worked hard for that. I mean, right
Mm-hmm.
at the end, right before Moonrise reset, Newt was killing it. He played 60 games a week or something.
That's a lot.
So he won like probably all of them. Just to reset that, I don't know, it felt weird. I was sure that that wouldn't happen, but the compromise was we keep the old and then we start the new, and I thought that was a good compromise.
Yeah, I agree with that. How did the whole culture of turn resetting is okay mentality start in the Cosmos?
With all the younger, the newer, the greener players on Cosmo at the time, I think the culture was let's learn from the best. And at the time, the leaderboard would tell you Prophet was the best, so trust in him was kind of the thought. If anyone had ever spoken to him, he's a charismatic guy. You're on his good side. He's your best friend. And to this day, I still will occasionally talk to him and check in, and it's nice to check up on people. And so, I mean, it goes back to him being a charismatic person. He just was. And so he tells you a thing as a newbie or even someone who's just in an intermediate level and been in this league for 6 months. You just take it, you believe it. That was that. As all of us got more comfortable with the league and understanding the rules, and the rules, they're evolving, they're constantly moving and changing. At one point, we accepted that was, an acceptable thing. And then we learned and changed and realized it wasn't.
Yeah, I was on the end of that as well. When I first joined into Cosmos, it wasn't Prophet that recruited me. It was you. Do you remember our game by chance?
Which one?
The
No, I don't remember it, but was
You
it
were
early?
Bard, I was Lux. It was to see how good I was, roughly. You just
Mm-hmm.
barged me with knights that I couldn't do anything and didn't run out of giants. It was sad, but it was also okay.
You obviously did something in that game to impress us and impress me.
The map
No, I
was
sadly
there
don't
was a
remember
string
it,
of
but
land in the middle, and I was able to show up in your doorstep pretty early. But other than
man, I
that,
want
you
to.
creamed me.
Did I go naval game to the left side of the map? Or am I thinking of a different
Eh,
middle strip?
no, I think the game was over too fast for that because you went into knights.
Huh. I want to see this map now. I don't remember it.
I remember the rough shape of it still because that was one of the few games at that point I lost because I wasn't playing higher elo people. I was mainly playing pretty good people and noobs because I wasn't very confident in my skills.
Right. You're in the big leagues now, right?
Yeah, it's just the issue of putting in the effort. I can be good. It's just I usually don't bother to do with all the planning because I have a bunch of other things I want to do.
Like this podcast, the
Yeah.
server that you're running, you got a lot of stuff on your plate. I get it. Sometimes I feel like this game is more about what you want to get out of it as opposed to what everyone else's expectations should be. On our server, it's man, I don't care if someone wants to play 10 games, if they want to play one game, we'll fit it in however you want to play. I think it's cool that on your server, I feel like it's a cool vibe. It's friendly. Like I said, it's just what you want to have a game.
hmm
And some people just want to play and have fun, and some people want to absolutely obliterate their opponent.
Could you tell us about the transition from the Cosmos to the Vikings?
That was right after basically the big cosmonaut cheating scandal got flushed out. Prophet and Vapo, like Lino Kami, all these players that got caught or involved with. They're part of the longer conversation. And we as a team basically had a very long, ongoing, evolving conversation of a period of a couple of weeks. Obviously, this is not okay. Our teammates and we were in the wrong here. Like, we need to not only be better, but we need to commit to being different.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just a cultural thing that was just internal, like, oh, okay, yeah, everyone, you show up at work the first day you're hired and they tell you to sign a document. No one reads that document. Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. And that's kind of how it would have felt if you were like, oh, yeah, whatever. We'll just be different. And we decided, like, let's change our name too. And we had like 164 team names tournament. Edgar Allan Poe, he organized this thing.
Mm-hmm.
We had all these different names, and we whittled it down to four, the final two. Vikings versus Kraken. Man, it was a tough call, but we went with Vikings, and the junior team being the Valkyries. I'm super stoked about it. That's the fun stuff you see on the front, and then there's all that back end stuff that you got to do with Discord, making a new server, making all the permissions, that kind of fun. So
Mm.
part of it was I got to learn a lot.
What's it like to be connected to Nelic, Luna, and other main Polytopia or Polychamps mods?
Great. I feel like it takes a different kind of person to be a mod. It's not just are you addicted to the game, but are you also addicted to the community? It's funny when we recruit or in Vikings, our number one thing is how addicted is this person to the game? With mods, it's kind of the same thing, but how addicted is this person to making a healthy, positive community? And I feel like all the mods that are there now and that have come and gone, that was their focus. That was the communication that we've had has always been positive. And sure, we get in arguments or people say communication is not always civil. Maybe it might be the right way, but in no way is somebody coming out of that being like, man, that guy's an asshole. It's just, we just disagree. And it's cool that the next time we have a conversation, it's right back to what's best for the server, what's best for the game. It's really cool. And I enjoy talking to all of them.
May I ask why you're a Quarian in Friendly Polytopia?
Because it's the best tribe in the game. Next question. No. I don't know. There's just something fun about playing that tribe. You got all your normal tribes, and then you've got these special tribes, and I just think it's fun adding that extra half of a layer of strategy to it. I can always throw tridents at you, and you're just absolutely boned. There's nothing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they hit at the right time, and it's fun.
So you're saying we should recommend more Quarian matches in season games?
I would hands down recommend that. I would recommend more Polaris in season games, and I would recommend more Illyrian. And coming soon is Semanti. Is that how you would pronounce it?
Semanti? Something like that.
They're just fun, and they add like a weird strategy that if you hit at the right time in the game flow, it's going to throw the opponent absolutely off their game. People know it's the other tribe will be based off score counting, and now with our tribe tiers, it's easier to predict what they've picked. And
Mm-hmm.
you see their biome coming as you enter that sector, but something about it makes it more enjoyable to show up and be a part of it. I would say not only in the Vikings, but in general.
The last couple of Vikings I interviewed admitted they weren't so great at Polaris, though. Maybe you should make me the Polaris official trainer.
Are you saying you're good at Polaris?
Well, I'm not super great at it, but yeah, I'm really decent.
Okay. How about this? If you beat me in a game as Polaris, you can have
Ooh.
whatever title you want. on the Vikings server involving the word Polaris or a permutation thereof.
Challenge accepted.
Let's do it. I think we have a couple good Polaris players. I like playing the tribe ever since Don't Call Me Susan absolutely destroyed me in my first semis game on Cosmonauts as Polaris. Oh yeah. We knew what they picked because we're counting and didn't feel it coming, and just it was a wave. And I've always been in love with that tribe since then. And also, I mean, Game of Thrones. I firmly believe that the Ice King did nothing wrong. You beat me in Polaris, you can have your title. I don't care what it is. Last Polaris Trader was red, and he would ping everybody every day about a Polaris fact. Don't do that, and we'll be good.
Yeah, don't ping everybody just for tips every day. You can do a thread. That's what I do, but I don't ping everyone for every little thing.
That was red. It was funny, though.
Well, that's what muting channels is for.
Yeah, sadly, I feel like I can't do that. Not on the team server, at least. As a mod, I just mute the entire mod channels and leaders chat and don't show up.
Yeah, no, I wasn't suggesting that extreme.
I never said, yeah.
So your favorite tribe is obviously Aquarian, and second is Polaris. Do you have a third favorite tribe?
My favorite tribe is Simanti. They are absolutely killer. And then my second favorite would be Luxador. Competitively, to play, I've been playing against the Alpha Omega, and he just absolutely murders me with Simanti. That's probably my favorite tribe today.
They can rush pretty well.
Oh man, they are just absolutely disastrous. I've tried every way to play him and beat him. I just can't. And again, he's one of those people that's just on another level. But Simanti is so good. That's probably my top. And then right below them is Aquarian because, again, they're the second best. Third, Polaris is in there. I've been playing a lot of XX. I don't know how you would pronounce it, but Zinshi, that's how I go. Probably incorrect, but I've been playing a lot with them. I just played a huge 400 square. It's one of those things, it's kind of fun piecing apart that entire map. What's the difference between playing Minesweeper, looking for 99 bombs, and looking for 10?
Do you have a least favorite tribe?
Yeah. I'm in between telling you the Vengir. I'm in between that and telling you Amaji. I don't like Amaji. I just don't. You start with one of the most sought out units, Rider. Exploration's all cool. I don't like playing that style. It's not me. I would rather have a game where I'm taking Vengir and losing 80% of the time. I don't care. Vengir just looks kind of cool. I like the back color scheme, and you start out with swords.
Mm-hmm. Now you made me wonder if somebody did a mathematical analysis to see if Amaji or Venger's better.
Amaji's better in many circumstances. The only way Wenger, I think is how you said it, or Vengir or whatever, is better is the small map, the 1v1, the up close. That's it. When you go to like 8 versus 8, like we're playing an 8 versus 8, 8v8, normal people say it, against Plague. So when you get to that big of a size, somebody's taking it because it's just one of those things. It's a wild card. It could be very explosive if you spawn right next to somebody and just walk into them with your sword guy, and they're screwed.
Yeah, one time there was a game I played. It was, let's see, there's a Vengir, a Hudrik, and then I was Kiku. I was Kiku in the corner. I saw Vengir, and then I saw Hudrik nearby. It's like, well, Hudrik, I am so sorry you are dead by spawn.
That's a weird combo?
It was a 12-player free-for-all. Those three were just on our little area of the map.
Gotcha. Man, that's the one thing about Moonrise I do not like. There can be repeat tribes in a game. I like it if you want it to happen, but I wish that we could also play games where that cannot happen. Only one tribe in each. Back in the old days, Lexador and then Bardu, and then you get to the end and this dude's picking Vengir or Hodrick or whatever, and you're like, they're screwed. Every now and then, they magically get the right spawn, the right game flow happens, and they kind of just swoop in from one side and they win the game. That's so much fun when you're winning with a tribe. It's more fun than winning with a really obviously good tribe.
That's kind of why I like playing Zabasi rather than Bardur or Luxador. Because then people can't go, you won because of your tribe. No, not really, sorry.
That's a good point. Zabasi is a good tribe for that. A little heavier on the giants.
Construction.
Yeah. Imperius is also a great tribe for that. But they're also, I feel like they're fun tribes to win with. Versus winning with Luxador, it's like, oh yeah, you were supposed to win. If Luxador doesn't win, it's like, man, you had such a better chance going into this than all the rest of us.
I take it your favorite unit isn't the Rider then, or is it?
I go back to, if I'm winning a game, yeah, the Rider is my favorite unit. If that's the goal, is to win the game. If we're talking style points or late game stuff, hands down, my favorite unit is the Battleship. Most people talk about a knight, swordsman, mostly the knight. Nothing changes the flow of the game like a Battleship. If you imagine your game board putting little drops of goop down, jelly, and it's flowing, you put like a Battleship down, it stops the flow from your opponent on that side of the board. They have to take a step back, they have to calculate, they have to run a couple bot commands to figure out how are we going to kill this Battleship. In my opinion, it's the one unit that can make or break a game.
Mm-hmm. Eventually there'll be a naval rework. I'm interested to see what the Aquarian rework would be, though.
Oh man, yeah. Another tiny little tweak. I'm telling you, that tribe that's going to be it. I remember seeing a couple of games in season 6 and maybe before where somebody would just, in a 3v3, they'd throw Aquarian in as the third tribe. It's such a good X factor. And if they just give it a little bit more, it's going to be hot.
In my experience, it's not really good for a 2v2, though.
And except in this most recent season, I mean, we added the tribe tiers and the point system. And in a 2v2, you could take Aquarian. That's probably my favorite part, is that it lets you assign the points, and you come into it saying, okay, I've got 6 points. Some people will take 2 3s, some people will take a 4 to 2. But the fact that like we're even talking about not taking just the most obvious 2 versus the most obvious 2, it's more fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
It adds a layer of complexity, but it's not too abrasive, that complexity to interrupt the absolute fun that it has created for me. I haven't heard any complaints otherwise. So Aquarian is like, I'm not going to tell you if we've used them yet, but we have.
Do you have a favorite strategy?
The slingshot, probably my favorite strategy. I know that, pretty sure it was Loki. Loki and I pulled a slingshot in a random game. It was so much fun. Because you can attack your ally, the game doesn't recognize them as an ally. So, you line up 2 warrior units into the enemy's entire massive army, and on the other side of that is my knight, just plowing through everybody. In the game I'm referencing, I think it was Loki's knight. I hope it was his and not someone else's. Pretty sure it was his.
Are you sure he didn't just
College.
spam shields?
I mean, that's usually my advice that I give people. Defender both spam. That's my favorite strategy. Slingshot. Comes from that Ricky Bobby, greatest NASCAR driver to ever live.
How many games are you usually in at once?
Funny, I could answer that question in kind of two periods. Before I was a mod, 30, easy. And then after I became a mod, it's become anywhere between 10 and 20. Depends if the Facebook season is in session. Depends on how the other leagues line up.
Last question. What's your favorite part of the Polytopia fandom as a whole?
I think my favorite part about the Polytopia fandom is, I guess it's a mix of the community and the game that the community is about. I feel like a lot of people end up playing this game because they want a mobile game, but they want a mobile game that adds layers of complexity to it. Anyone can download a mobile game. The thing about Polytopia is it reminds me of Civilization. I feel like a lot of people end up here because they were searching for Civilization type games.
Mm-hmm.
I was always looking for a StarCraft type game or a Age of Empires 2 type game. But I was always cool with turn-based. Those two were the games I played growing up. You end up here, it's just got so much strategy to it and so many layers. You add the bots to it in the Discord side, and there's even an extra layer of mind screwery. In a time like today, and in a technology world that we have, this is just a perfect thing for me and for a lot of people. I feel like it's just a good, easy, accessible way to have a strategy game. PC Discord, our main Discord, friendly Polytopia Discord. We all just get together and just play some games and have fun. Who cares about all the rest of it?
That's all the questions I had.
Awesome. So send me that game, Polaris.
Normal? Large? 900?
Host choice. Your choice.
Okay.
It was nice talking to you.
Same. Glad you finally decided to do plays.
Yeah, me too. In the Vikings server, we have a great mix. In the PolyChamp server, just a very healthy mix of people. All walks of life.
Anything else?
Not for me.
Alright, I guess I'll wrap it up then. Thanks again very much for your time.
Hey, thank you.
Yep. See you around. I'll send that game.
All right, I'll be waiting for it. See ya.
Yep. Bye. As always, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, feel free to share it. For the text version, you can join my Discord in the description. I also have a YouTube channel where I play 1v1s and occasionally do tutorials. We'll be back next week. Bye!